Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to continuing coverage of the 2013 World Ball Hockey Championships, and we're here with our third women's quarterfinal of the game between Team United States in the white jerseys and Team Greece in the blue. And with me for this one is Trevor Murphy, our color commentator. Of course, Teddy O'Rourke and myself been here for every single game of this 2013 World Championship, hence why I may sound a little different today. Trevor, welcome aboard again. It's great to have you for this bonus coverage.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Chris. Should be a good game here tonight between the USA and Greece. You know, from what we've seen so far, two fairly evenly matched teams with some solid goaltending, so we're expecting a low-scoring contest, and it will be certainly a good chance for the forwards of each team to step up tonight against an evenly matched team and see how they respond.
Absolutely, and something that we definitely talk about is the good goaltending. Vicky Afexinadou in the Greek net, Adele King in the American net. Adele King's been really the story of this tournament and the reason why. Goal! Can't see who that really was. That's the Americans got those. I think it was Rachel Heller. The Americans got those white jerseys with the white numbers that are completely hard to read.
And we seen this last night, Chris. Greece giving up an early goal, and something they didn't want to do tonight against the USA, but the USA did a nice job of attacking Greece early, getting the ball down low, getting a rebound, and then slamming it home. So USA jumps out to a quick 1-0 lead. It'll be important for Greece to have a real comeback shift here now to pressure the ball, to try and gain possession and get something happening here early in this game.
Well, and they're going to have to wait a little bit longer because Corey Kanitis is going to take a penalty down there in the corner as the Americans control. Goes in for Jess Prostak. Out front, Bankowski scores! Erica Bankowski from Jess Prostak, and the Americans have come to play tonight. And Vicky Afexinadou, maybe still reeling from the thrashing from Team Canada last night, hasn't been herself. And now the U.S. are up 2-0 already. And
for the first time, we've seen her play last night. Afexinadou, not one time that we see her, show any type of, non-confidence or any frustration. But tonight on that second goal, they're not pleased with their defense. Felt they weren't covering the man in front, but they weren't, making it way too easy for USA to walk out and snipe that second goal. So we'll see how she responds now. She needs to make that next big save, give herself some confidence, and also to give her team some confidence going forward.
Absolutely. As we talked about off camera here, we figured a very even matchup. Team Greece with a few high-end forwards, but if those forwards and the other players don't play in their defensive system, then they're not going to have the opportunity to score the goals.
No, and we've seen it last night in the game against Team Canada, Chris, that they were very good in their own zone. They played a good system. But when they did run into problems was when the Team Canada forwards did a nice job at protecting the ball, shielding the ball from the opposition. And we're seeing that from the U.S. tonight, too, early in this game. They are shielding the ball, using their body to make sure that Team Greece cannot get a stick on it. And that's why Team USA is out to a 2-goal lead.
Oh, and a hit there. And that goes on penalized. Here's Malono. Malono with a nice move. She's knocked off the ball by Ashley McMasters. Malono fires that towards the net. Malono again walks in, shoots, and that's blocked very nicely by Patterson in front. Julie Patterson's been a great defender for the Americans here in this tournament. That's send the link, that's waved off as last night's guest Nicole Nakos goes back there to pick that up. And here's Mangos. Mangos for Nikos. And here's Dimitrikopoulos. First time we've called her name tonight. She forces the issue, but she's turned back there by... Oh, and that takes a funny bounce off the door, Trevor. And
actually,
all the bounces
hit the referee's heel as he was running into the zone.
That's what it was.
Hit the referee, and he made a great pass right back to Team USA.
Yeah, and the bounce is certainly going the way of the Americans. Ostagai sends that in there for American captain Terry Ryan, which, interestingly enough, same name as a Canadian player, Terry Ryan, who actually played his minor hockey here in Mount Pearl. His jersey retired at the other end of the arena.
Absolutely. Yeah, Terry Ryan had a great minor hockey career here in Mount Pearl, played all of his minor hockey, minor baseball up through here. Went on to a great junior career. Unfortunately, had some injury issues and cut his NHL career short. But again, he had a great minor hockey, great junior career, and has had a great ball hockey career with Team Canada. Playing, I'm thinking, is his 3rd or 4th World Championship
Absolutely,
right now.
and,
So he's had a good run, certainly between ice hockey and ball hockey, and certainly a good baseball player as well.
Yeah, funny the way things worked for Terry Ryan of Canada. Drafted in the 1st round by the Montreal Canadiens. As you mentioned, some injury issues there in Montreal. Terry was a bit of a fighter, so you know how those guys get hurt often. Corey Kanitis fires that one wide. And Ryan, while an accomplished ice hockey player, has become a world-class ball hockey player. So, funny thing, the world works in mysterious ways sometimes, Trev.
No, absolutely, Chris. And with Terry being a part of Team Canada because of his experience, a little bit older, probably one of the older players on the team, certainly leading his veteran leadership, to the team this year, which is important. And if you have some younger players, you need players like Terry that have had some experience. Between pro hockey, between his World Championship ball hockey experience, you need guys like that as you're trying to chase that championship. So, Team Canada's off to a great start on the men's side. They play their semifinal tomorrow night, I believe it is, Chris,
Yep.
Saturday night.
Yep.
So that'll be a big game for them, and certainly Terry and the other veterans of that team will be a key part of Team Canada's success that they have.
Yeah, and just to touch on how important Terry Ryan has been to ball hockey here in Newfoundland, in Canada, it's not a stretch to say that this tournament is here in a large part because he was a trailblazer with the national team, and you give him credit where credit is due. He played for the national team a long time ago before this sport had webcasting, had any coverage at all. So, hats off to him.
Well, as we know, Chris, back I think in the early 80s, Newfoundland had some very strong teams going away to national competitions. Kind of, I think, settled down for a little bit in the 90s. But here in the last couple of years, Newfoundland and Labrador teams have featured quite well at national championships, and certainly that's because of Terry and other guys here locally that have kept the game strong, and certainly local organizers that have done a nice job with it. Yeah. But we have players that are playing now and having, it's 7 Newfoundlanders, I think, on the men's team, Chris?
I believe, and there's three on the women's.
Yeah, 3 on the women's team, plus some staff on the men's team. Mm-hmm. It's great for ball hockey and gives a certain boost in this province. Yeah. Hopefully keep the game moving forward.
Yep. And back to the Terry Ryan for Team USA. The first time we met her, we interviewed her early, and she said, I know about this other Terry Ryan. I want to switch jerseys with him. So we've actually let Canadian Terry Ryan know that American Terry Ryan wants to do that. So hopefully we can get a nice picture, maybe get a nice moment as the tournament concludes here on the weekend.
And I would say our Terry Ryan from Mount Pearl has a similar color jersey from his Tri-City American days.
He did
probably a very similar jersey, from his time in the WHL.
Absolutely. Back to the action here. It's Ferguson. Ferguson pressing in there on Patterson, who rims it back around Malono. Malono and Ferguson working there for the Greeks. Malono walks out. She shoots just wide of the American net. Over there on the left wing, that looks like Rajaratnam. And she sends it out. Joanne Ostagai. That's waved off. No icing there. As the Greek contingent in the stands certainly shouting encouragement to the ladies on the floor. Here's Dimitrikopoulos. Dimitrikopoulos sends that on net, and Adele King will stop that one all day as Habina and Markazinas, are in there together.
And that's what Greece will need to do, Chris. They need to get over the blue line. They need to get some balls on the net because they're not getting in there for that fancy goal. They're not getting a chance to have a lot of one-on-one battles. They need to cross the blue line, start getting some shots on goal, test this USA goaltender, but make sure the wingers, as they cross the blue line, are driving the net hard, looking for that rebound.
Here's So, as we discussed, So, as Jordan So was playing early in the week. That's his mother, Stephanie. Jordan played a whale of a game earlier. Hong Kong came out 1-0 winners over the Cayman Islands in just a fantastic game here at the Glacier. So we had 2 real good Pool B games today.
No, it was interesting. You told that story last night about mother and son playing in this tournament together. And as I was leaving the rink last night, it was cool to see the Hong Kong contingent hanging out with the Greece contingent and talking, and mother and son having a few moments after the game. So it was really cool to see.
Dimitrikopoulos winds, fires. Back here for Tessa Dimitrikopoulos. For Skofich for Dimitrikopoulos. That's knocked off her stick. Chipped out and down the ice by Melanie Cherry, USA's player of the game yesterday. Also came for an interview. Melanie, very sweet lady, and we had a good chat with her. Melanie, actually, Trevor, interesting story for people who watching this game may not know, as Stephanie Solis is the one-timer. Cherry is the backup goaltender for Team USA. She was selected player of the game yesterday. Numerous shot blocks on the PK. And I asked her about the shot blocking. She said, well, of course, I'm the backup goalie. So many stories we've gotten here this week. That's just another awesome story from Melanie Cherry.
That's outstanding. You know, being a former defenseman myself, I know that defensemen can do anything. So it's great to see, you know, this young girl able to fill different roles, and absolutely phenomenal, actually, to see that. And I guess that's just being a certain team player, I guess, Chris, and, you know, willing to do whatever it takes for her team to win.
Exactly. Whatever she has to do to make this Team USA better, she'll do. I'm sure as a goaltender, she'd much rather be in net, knowing that they have a capable goalie in Adele King, then she's able to help out in another way. So that's fantastic.
And this is my first chance seeing her play here tonight, but just early indications, she's a very good defenseman.
Yeah.
You know, she does a nice job of making a simple play off the boards, taking care of her own zone first, and allow the forwards to do the work.
And I think she's worked her way up the U.S. depth chart through the tournament. Maybe the staff, you know, didn't want to get her in too deep at the beginning, but she's progressed the whole way. She's become their best penalty killer. And yesterday, she played a good 30 minutes in that 45-minute game.
No, and I think it's a sign of a good team when you have players on your team that are willing to accept roles. And we discussed it last evening during the Team Canada game, how a lot of those players are stars on their local teams, maybe star on provincial teams, but now they're having to take maybe a bit of a backseat role in order to take a role to have their team be successful. And certainly that's a great example of that. Having Melanie Cherry, you know, a backup goaltender, maybe wants to be playing in goal, but playing defense and being very successful and contributing to her team and any success they're having this week.
That's sent in there for, again, I really apologize, folks. Those jerseys are just hard to read. It's Ostagai in there. I should know by her helmet. McMasters keeps that in. That's a shot on. Terry Ryan sends that through the crease. And Joy Markazinas is on the ball. Markazinas battles with Ostagai. Ostagai goes down. Markazinas sends that ahead for Malono. And that's chopped away by Julie Patterson. Ostagai with a shot. Out front, Rajaratnam taken down by Malono. And here's Patterson. Patterson keeps that onside. Nicole Nakos is there. She sends it ahead. Markazinas and Patterson will come together here on top of the circle. Markazinas. Nice moves by Markazinas as Mangos drives the net. Natalie Magnos. Ferguson in there. Here's Mangos walking, shooting off the crossbar. And Adele King did not see that one. First or last, Trevor?
No, got lucky there. And great play by Team Greece to get that ball down low. And then that quick walkout and a quick shot. And certainly the best quality chance they've had here this evening.
And 4:34 remaining in the first. And Trevor, you'll really hope that this game doesn't come down to the Greeks really wishing they had those first 2 minutes back.
No, because this is a quarterfinal game, and if you want to continue on in this playoff, you have to win tonight. We've seen Greece get off to a slow start last night. They certainly picked the game up in the third period, but you cannot always do that. Sometimes you get lucky and you stay in games, but that first minute and that last minute of every period is so important, and we'll see how Team USA can keep the momentum going, but Team Greece has got to find a way to get on the board here soon to try and get back in this game.
Back here for Evans. Evans will keep that alive. Sent wide of the net by Corey Kanitis. She's up on the rush. Corey Kanitis, Dimitrakopoulos, maybe the two most dangerous players in blue here tonight. I'm sure the U.S. with their scouting are well aware. Another shot wide by Mangos, and Natalie Mangos is having a good game early. Dimitrakopoulos, she has a great shot, Trevor. You might get to see it here. She shoots that wide at King. Dimitrakopoulos, she plays the game very tough, very hard, and she is a competitor, and I really like the way she plays. Sent around here. Julie LeBlanc will pick that up. LeBlanc will send that forward. Ostagai is on the attack. Sorry, that's Amanda Brown. Brown and Ostagai with similar helmets. Knocked down by LeBlanc. LeBlanc walks on it, shoots. That's wide of a Fixanedu in the Greek net. 3:25 to play here. And Cherry again getting involved, having a stick wrapped around her head. Melanie Cherry fearless for Team USA. McRae ahead for Ryan. Ryan makes a nice play to turn and protect the ball there. Ryan in. She has McRae going to the net. Sends it in front. McRae shoots. And a very nice save by Vicky Afexanedu, who's now settled in. She was ready for that. Covers it face off to her right.
Now, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, Team Greece has looked much better. They've gotten 2 or 3 good scoring opportunities. They're spending some more time than the USA end, and it's exactly what they need to do. They need to get some possession time in the USA zone, set themselves up for some good shots on goal, and put the pressure back on the USA, because for the most part here in this first period, USA has dominated the period.
Absolutely, Trev. Away comes Harwick. Harwick's been good for the Greeks. Patterson back to recover, and Patterson turns that over a little too easy. Harwick fires on net. Cherry's there to take the man. Melanie Cherry, and I can't talk about how much I've been impressed with her play as this tournament's progressed. Cherry, very not flashy, steady, hardworking, does what she has to do. And we should have probably expected that when you find out what she's done here to be a member of this team. Here's Mangos. Mangos having a good game so far, and she's getting rewarded with lots of floor time. Mangos in shot. That's just wide as she tried to bank that off Malono.
You can hear downstairs, Chris, the Greece coach encouraging his players to shoot more. And that's what we're talking about here. The players have to get over the blue line and get the balls on the net, because we can see that the Greece wingers are driving the net. So instead of making an extra move at the blue line or top of the circles, get in over, find yourself some room, and shoot that ball, and you can see what happens.
Well, Trevor, you weren't here last game, but, watching, this is the 24th, 25th, I don't know, can't even keep count anymore game I've done this week, and I started to wonder if maybe it is not a strategy in ball hockey. Maybe, it's something that teams feel like they're giving the ball away. But last game, Armenia versus Bermuda, Mike Yeremian, a defenseman and co-coach for Team Armenia, a former Team Canada player, has branched off now to start the Armenian program. Mike had 4 points, a couple of goals, couple of assists, a couple of rocket one-timers from the point, and a couple he just laid in there, and they found their way on net, tip, deflected, rebounds. And we asked Mike about it after the game. He said, get it through, get it through, get it through. So, maybe that's something that a lot of these players could do a lot better, and just throw it at the net. I tell my ice hockey players, the net hasn't moved in 100 years. You know where it is. Put the ball there, put the puck there, whatever.
No, and I agree with what you're saying.
And that's in. A very weak goal in the Fexanedu.
We haven't seen that. Like, she's been so strong. And you got to wonder, after the barrage of shots she saw last night, laying those 2 early goals in tonight, you got to wonder how her mental stability is right now, because that is not a goal that she's been letting in during this event.
No, and it seems to me, Trev, that, she didn't even go butterfly on that. She just kind of threw the stick out. And just looking at the Greek roster here, she is the only goalie, and you have to wonder maybe fatigue has just set in as, the effort just clearly not there tonight, playoff game or no playoff game. And maybe not the effort, maybe the energy.
Absolutely. And you had to wonder too, Chris, if Greece can come back here and get a goal, that may rejuvenate her as well, because she sees that her team is working hard. They're trying to make things happen. And when a goaltender or other teammates see that, then they can step up the game as well. So we'll see how she responds here, how the Greece team in general responds. But something positive has got to happen for them soon, or this is going to be a long night for Team Greece.
Absolutely. Chantel Church with that goal. 49 seconds remain. Team USA lead 3-0. Coria Kanitis back there. And it's something we asked Tessa Dimitrikopoulos about in her post-game interview a few days ago up here. We asked Tessa, we said, how will this affect your team? And Coria Kanitis with a very nice rush there, and King again there to shut the door. We asked Tessa Dimitrikopoulos, there's a few players on your team that play an awful lot. And Tessa, that's 2 games ago, said, a lot of us played a lot of soccer, a lot of ball hockey, we're pretty fit. But even if you're fit, Trevor, there comes a point where your body just doesn't perform like it does when you have energy stores.
No, you're playing 4 games in 4 nights at a world championship. This is not a local club team or anything else. This is a world championship. You're playing against the best players in the world. And I don't care how fit you are, after a while, between the bumps and the bruises, the constant running, the pounding of the floor, you are going to get tired, you're going to get worn down. But that's where the depth comes into play. If you have that depth, you can get through those injuries, you can get through that tiredness and make things happen.
Well, for example, if you have a second goalie there, last night when it's 4-5-0, you can get Afexinado off the floor, and leave her on the bench knowing that you'll coming into a quarterfinal game against a more equal opponent. But yes, it's the depth. And we talked to Nicole last night. We talked to Nicole Nakos, and she said, we know we're short-staffed. We put this together late. So you can't fault them for anything. But it is definitely a reason here because it's not a talent thing. It's not a desire thing. I think the tournament may just have taken its toll on this Greek squad.
Oh, absolutely. And just watching the Greek goaltender walk out of her net there, and even watching her last night come for the interview, it seems like there might be kind of an injury as well. So you got to wonder if there may be like a hamstring or a groin issue or something. Because she has a bit of a limp there as she walks. So all these things, the shots on goal, the 4 games in 4 nights, all these things start to play on a player at the highest levels. And I think we might be seeing that here this evening.
Absolutely. Well, folks, it's 3-0 after 1. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for the call of the second period right after this. Okay, we're back here for the second period. Team Greece, Team USA. And Trevor, what did you see from Team Greece during that intermission as they huddled in the corner? Nice save by King off Markazinas. Back out front to Mitrakopoulos. And Ostagai will chip that down. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
To be quite honest, they looked tired. After the period was over, there wasn't much jump. Kind of just dragging themselves back to the corner to talk to their coach. So, we heard some of the coach's instructions during that first period about shoot more, pass more. So he wants to see them have more of an offensive flair here. And I'm sure that was what was talked about in the second period was, let's be sharp in our own zone. And if we're sharp in our own zone, we get the ball out and make things happen offensively. But we got to take our own zone first, make things happen from there.
Absolutely. Back here for McMaster. She sends it ahead for Ryan. And I don't want to get ahead of myself here, Trevor. 3-0 American lead. Certainly the game not over. We've already got set up our first semifinal tomorrow, Czech Republic versus Slovakia. We could be looking at a Team Canada, Team USA semifinal. So it could be a big day of hockey out here tomorrow at the Glacier.
And that's just, I guess, traditional hockey powers facing off against each other, and that could be a lot of fun to watch. We know that certain teams are at certain levels in this competition, but it doesn't matter. When you get to that semifinal level, anything can happen. And when you have two countries like Canada and the U.S. who have many historic battles over the years, that'd be great to see. That'd be a lot of fun to see tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I, for one, I'm rooting for that to happen here tomorrow night.
There's Cheery again, stepping up on the defense, closing the gap, using good stick, making a nice play at the top of the circles to prevent that pass from getting through. She continues to play a good, solid game on the back end, taking care of her own zone. Really good job.
Back out here for Skofich. Skofich sends it in. And we see the Greeks with a little more zone time already here. They really need one to get a fire lit under them here, Trevor.
No, and we saw at the end of the first period, they did get some pressure against the Team USA defense, which was important to set some momentum going into the second period. And we're seeing it here again to start this period. We're about 3 minutes in, and they spend most of the time down the USA zone. So from Team Greece, you've got to keep going right now. Keep the pressure on, keep attacking. But it's okay to have ball possession time, but you have to start getting some shots on goal.
Absolutely. Here's Jess Prostak, another one of the best names of this tournament, Jessica Prostak. I've been talking about that all week. What a fantastic name that is. Chipped ahead by Dramakopoulos. Great play there. Markazinas is in. Markazinas sends that across for Mangos. Easily the top three Greek forwards here today. Sent back in for Mangos, who's been having her best game of the tournament. But Bankowski's going to chip that out and down. That's not going to have enough gas. And Koryakinitis is going to come back and pick that up for the Greeks. Long feed for Markazinas. Markazinas tries a little back pass there. That's broken up. Patterson sends that ahead. And back for Koryakinitis. Koryakinitis for Markazinas. Markazinas turns that over. And Prostak is there again. Here's Julie LeBlanc. LeBlanc drops for Prostak, who was going for a change. She sends it on goal. Fexanedu bobbles out a bit, finally comes up with it in 3 minutes, 15 seconds in. There'll be a face-off to the right of the goal. Shots on net. Team USA 9, Team Greece 6.
And I'd like to start to the second period by Team Greece. A much better start to the period than it was at the first half of the game. But I think one thing they had to start focusing in is stop trying to make that little backhand pass or that nice-looking play. Just make those good direct passes, tape to tape. Use the boards if you have to, but try and get away from these neutral zone, behind the back passes or little chips. Certainly there's time and place for that, and if you can use it, use it. But start making the good, safe play, and then from that, you should start to be able to generate some offense.
That'll go for ice. And again, just want to check a couple emails we got here. Andy Hanlon writes in, want to give a shout-out to Adele King. Go USA. Well, Andy, Adele's certainly been very, very, very good here this week. And we've got another, I believe. No, that's not for us. All right. Shout out to Fred Hunt and Team USA. Just checking in. Ellen, Dom, Wendy, and Emmy to cheer on Fred Hunt. Sent ahead here. And again, we see Melanie Cherry involved in the physical, strong defensive play, winning the battle. Melanie Cherry might want to think about making the full-time switch here. Here's Ryan. Ryan loses the handle. Nakos. Nakos chips that ahead. Rajaratnam knocks it down. Rajaratnam sends it on goal. Backhand, Ostagai. And that goes into the corner. Nakos. It's kept in by McMasters. Ostagai shoots. She's tackled and her stick goes flying. And Skofic taking care of business in front of the Greek net.
Yeah, we didn't see a real aggressive game last night from the Greek defense in front of the net. So that's a good thing to see from Skofic because she's going to need to do that. And all the Greek players are, if Afexinadu is not playing as strong as she has been, she's going to need some help from her defense. And they cannot give up those good in-close opportunities. They cannot give up second and third rebound opportunities. So the Greek defense will need to step up, make those kind of plays in order to keep this game close.
Absolutely. That sent long. Dimitrakopoulos hard on that. Patterson's going to chase her down. Markazinas goes to the net. Mangos up there. Mangos working it deep. Mangos sends it in. Dimitrakopoulos picks that up. Dimitrakopoulos with a nice move. Watch closely down there by Habina. Habina takes her down. And she'll be whistled, and the Greeks will earn themselves a power play.
Oh, and a nice play down there. She did a great job of protecting the ball. She made sure her back was to the middle of the floor. Did a nice job protecting the ball, and because of that, forcing the USA defender to take her down. Now, this is a key piece of the game. We have 9:47 left in the second period. Team Greece down 3-0. They're getting their first power play opportunity of the game. They've had a much better start to the second period, a good finish to the end of the first period, so they had momentum going their way. So the chance right now to get on the scoreboard, this is a key time and key opportunity for Team Greece right now here in the second period.
And they're going there with Malono. Mangos. Dimitrakopoulos stays out there, and as does Markazinas and Koryakinitis. So coach is going to lean on the horses, Trev. Malono all alone in front. Shot by Koryakinitis, tipped. And Adele King will knock that out of harm's way. Koryakinitis. Koryakinitis sends it in. Nobody home. Malono. And Patterson will take that. Knocked down by Church. Sent in. Again with the blocks, Melanie Cherry. She's going to be black and blue when she gets home. There's Mangos. Mangos controls. Minute 10 remaining in the period in the penalty. Dimitrakopoulos looking for Mangos. Mangos in, shot. That's off the side of the net. Malono throws it on net. King not sure where it was for a second there. Dimitrakopoulos out for Mangos. Mangos for Dimitrakopoulos. Koryakinitis has that poked away by Church. And Church will send that down. The Americans will get in a change. Cherry will stay just in case of the long bomb. And here's Markazinas. Markazinas near side here for Skofic. Into the zone. Around for Harwick. Harwick back here for Nakos. Nakos sends it on goal. That's stopped in there. Over here for Ostagai. And Ostagai will send that out and down the floor.
No, that will kill the Team USA penalty. So good job for Team USA to hang on there. But basically about 1:45 for Team Greece in the USA zone. So a good power play. Would have loved to have seen a goal there. But they had a good time possession in the USA zone. And hopefully that's something they can build off right now. They need to do more of that. So hopefully that's a building block here for Team Greece as they go forward here in the second period.
Well, right after that, Ostagai with the steal. She has a chance. And then Rajaratnam has a chance right afterwards. Afexinadu equal to the task, though.
No, And Fexinado, after her team having so much time down in the USA zone, good for her to make that save. That's important to see her make some good saves, keep her team in this game, because if Team Greece can score one here soon, they're right back in this, Chris. So their goaltender needs to keep making the saves that she has done all weekend.
Absolutely.
Or all week, sorry.
And the very dangerous Erica Bankowski out there again for the U.S. She has a lot of points here this weekend. Bankowski working in there with Brown. Sent out here, Habina, who has a couple from out this far with her big bomb. Sent here by Korea Kanitis to So. Stephanie So sends that into the zone. So down there sends it for Malono. Makes its way out here for Rajaratnam. Rajaratnam for Ryan. Trista Rajaratnam sends that in deep. And Ryan hammers. Oh, hammers Georgopoulos down the corner. No call as Christina Georgopoulos was taken down there by Terry Ryan.
And we've seen some physical play going back and forth here, Chris. You know, we've seen Greece a little bit in the first period be a bit physical. That good job in front of the net of clearing the front area. USA coming back and playing physical. So far the referee's letting these girls play. We've seen a couple of penalties called, I think one to each side thus far. But letting them play overall, and that's good to see. This is a playoff game. You know, winner goes on to the semifinals. So officials letting them play and let them dictate how this game works out.
There's McRae on the draw. Mangos to Michikopoulos. Markazinas back out there. Sent on net by Ostagai. Brown. LeBlanc tries the shot. Cherry gets caught in no man's land. Sent ahead to Michikopoulos. Mangos and Markazinas getting up there. Shot from the side. King. Dangerous there. Here's Mangos. Mangos fires. And how about Melanie Cherry going down in the butterfly to stop that one? Can't believe we didn't know she was a goalie, but she'll block anything out there.
That's outstanding, though, because that was a close-range
Oh,
shot.
yeah.
She went down, and like I say, in the butterfly. You know, her namesake, I think Dawn Cherry would be very impressed with her. The way she blocks shots, the way she plays defensively. You know, she'd be a fan favorite of old Dawn's. No doubt about that at all.
Yeah, the way she's a fan favorite of Chris Abbott, I'll tell you that. She's absolutely won my heart over here the way she blocks the ball.
Well, as we talked about, Chris, you need players like that who are willing to get down, get dirty, and do a good job in the game. And she's certainly filling a good role here for Team USA. She's that, you know, strength on the back end, doing good things there, and like I say, blocking those shots, making the safe play, and taking care of her own zone first. So great job on Melanie Cherry, continue to play a strong defensive game, and full marks to her for getting back. She had gotten caught at the offensive blue line, but she was back in the zone before Greece had time to set up and try to get that shot on goal.
For sure, Trev. Go to the emails here. And this is from Carol and Mac. Hello, go USA, go Ashley McMasters. Woo-hoo. Watching the game from Virginia Beach, Virginia, where one very proud family go Binky. And I just want to talk to Mac here for a second. So, Mac, I'm extrapolating here, but if your parents named you Mac McMasters, I hope you had that conversation with them somewhere along the line. Mac McMasters.
That's an outstanding name, though, when you think about it. That's like an actor's name. That's pretty cool, actually.
I don't know.
I like it.
All right, 1 vote yes, 1 vote no, Mac. You didn't think you were going to get that much airtime, but thanks for the email, guys. Here's Dimitrikopoulos. Dimitrikopoulos with Malono in front. Tessa Dimitrikopoulos sends that back around. Power play. And speaking of Ashley McMasters, she's off the ice for a penalty right now.
Yeah, it was a slashing call down behind the Team USA net, so the referee did pick that one up, gave her 2 minutes for slashing, and putting Greece back on the power play. And we've talked about it. They've been much better in the second period. They've gotten a couple more shots on goal, have had good possession time in the offensive zone, but once again, a key opportunity where they need to get some good shots on goal, and the coach continuing to run with his horses, get his best players on the floor. It's time for them to step up right now and get that first goal for Greece, get them back in this contest, and get them something to build on.
Here's Markazinas. Markazinas. Stopped in the middle by Church. ahead for Corey Kanitis, where Jess Prostak is going to slow her down. That's going to come back this way for Patterson. Actually, that's Habina. Habina, you always know it's her because she has her sleeves rolled up. And we get a quick whistle here. And Tatey, if you can, get this little girl over in the stands over here. She's got the ugly stick going, and she's banging it with her American flag. The ugly stick, folks, an old Newfoundland traditional instrument, and is exactly what it says. It's a piece of wood with lots of various things that make noise on it. It has beer bottle stoppers, spoons, bells, anything you can have, and it's played rhythmically. Keeps the beat in traditional songs when lots of people, get together and play music at a family party or whatever, whatever you have. So there's a young lady over there, obviously has adopted the ugly stick here supporting the Americans. So that's something else we've seen here this weekend. That's fantastic.
No, it's great to see a young girl here with it, making some noise, and also supporting the Newfoundland economy by buying the ugly stick. So we appreciate it. So thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
And for any music lovers out there, the ugly stick also comes with a sneaker or boot normally attached to the bottom of it. So that will preserve the floors when you're playing the instrument. And then often we'll have some sort of foolish thing on the top with, a foolish animal type fake head. Not from a real animal now, mind you, but, like a teddy bear type material. And anyway, that young lady having a good time with her ugly stick over there, and I'm sure someone's going to let her family know that she's been on the stream and caught our attention.
And I think the sneaker, as you said, it preserves the floor, but also, too, if you had a really good night and you lose a sneaker, you've got that extra shoe there for the way home. So Newfoundlanders are always thinking about preserving floors and having that third shoe just in case on the way home.
And I wonder what came first, though. Was it the extra shoe or having one shoe? Did somebody one night make the ugly stick, realize they got home, they got no shoe, it's on the ugly stick?
Knowing some of the people and the friends we hang out with, Chris, I'm guessing that they just lost a shoe one night and they needed that third one. So I'm sure it was part of process of elimination, the opportunity to try some new things out, but this being very smart and intelligent and trying to find solutions to issues. Resourceful.
Yeah,
thank you. There's the word we're looking for.
Yeah.
You're always trying to find solutions.
Here's Markazinas. Joy Markazinas controls the ball. She stopped there by Patterson. Out here for Joanne Ostagai. The veteran line here, Ostagai, Ryan Rajaratnam. That's sent out and down, but a little too far there by Brittany Ferguson. And we will face off back in the Greek zone. 2:40 remain in the second period.
Now, I like the idea of Ferguson right there to try and, chip that ball off the boards, but just a little too hard. Didn't have the right draw weight for any of the curling fans out there. But she had the right idea to try and chip that ball off the boards and then run around the USA defender to try and get to it. So right idea, just the execution was not there, but good for her with the right idea to make that play and try and create some type of offense.
And Trevor, we talked about Amy Dawson sitting out the game last night for Team Canada. We found out she wasn't playing via Twitter. Tonight we find out she will be playing via Twitter. So Amy Dawson back in the lineup for Team Canada for their quarterfinal game coming up immediately after this one.
And as we thought last night, Chris, we were hoping it would be just a one-night thing, maybe get some extra rest before the playoff round started. So good to hear that they'll have Amy Dawson back in the lineup this evening.
Amanda Brown shoots. Amanda Brown has had a lot of family and friends watching, cheering her on this week. Mangos, very nice job to get that out hard and down the floor. Dimitrikopoulos can't get the handle, though, as McMasters very nicely takes that away. I'll go a little too far for ice. A minute 50 remains in your second period. 3-0, the United States leads Team Greece.
Now, a nice play there by Team Greece. You call it, Chris. A great pass up from the defense. A nice long pass. Didn't try the direct pass. Used the boards very smartly. And then the two Greece players waiting at the blue line, a quick give-and-go type pass. So good heads-up play. it looks like Team Greece trying to stretch the floor out a little bit right now to try and get that offensive opportunity, the offensive entry to get that first goal. Because, with just over a minute left in this second period, something has to happen here soon because they are playing much better, but they had to find a way to get on the board.
Absolutely. Here's Jess Prostak. She'll send that out and down. She gets a little too much on. That'll come back for icing. The thing is with the Greeks, Trevor, once they figure out how to get through the American defense, now you got to solve Adele King.
Absolutely.
And that's something teams have not been able to do here this week.
No, she's been solid, and she's been tested here. There's been 9 shots against her, but some very much in close. And she's done a nice job of staying on top of the crease, staying square to the ball, and doing a nice job of making the save. And she'll have to continue to be strong here because Greece is starting to come on a little bit right now. The USA will need their goaltender to stay strong in the pipes.
Well, Trev, we've seen it time and time again over the years. Teams, once they have that lead in the third period that's approaching, they tend to start thinking about winning, and the goaltender very often called upon to be big late. Mangos holds, pressured well there by Church and Prostak, McRae and Prostak. Dimitrikopoulos needs to get a chance to let that shot go. She's a lethal shot. Koriakinitis for Dimitrikopoulos. That rolls wide. Dimitrikopoulos is taken out of the play there. Markazinas, the big forward who plays the point on the power play. And Mangos calls for it back here. Koriakinitis gets that weakly at King, and she's going to stop that all day.
But there we see Greece starting to move their feet a lot more now. They're starting to use some speed. They're starting to support the ball a lot better. And because of that, they're getting more offensive zone time and getting some more shots on goal. So that's good on Team Greece to make those changes, to make those adjustments. But now it just has to settle down and make sure when they get to that top of the circles, the hash mark area, shoot to score. Make sure they bear down, get some hard shots on goal, and really test King to see what she's made of.
Ostagai creeping in behind the play there as Americans get back to 5-on-5. Here's Markazinas. 19 seconds remaining. Joy Markazinas. Shoot, that's knocked away by Cherry. Surprise, surprise. Melanie Cherry becoming the shot blocking sensation of this one, the Dennis Weidman of this playoffs. Koriakinitis. Across in front. Dongus unable to connect, and that'll do it for the third period here. Or excuse me, the second period. And the Americans lead 3-0. 14-10 are the shots on goal.
Yeah, and other than that first 2 minutes, Chris, this game has been pretty even. And you talked about it, you called it, you hope that as a coach, that doesn't come back to bite you. And so far it has. So we'll see how Greece can respond this third period. But with other than those first 2 minutes, this has been a very even hockey game with chances in both ends of the rink. Good chances for both teams, some good skill, some good speed. So it'll be interesting to see how this third period goes. But you got to wonder what Team Greece is thinking now after those first 2 minutes.
Yeah. And, 3-0 as opposed to 1-0, it's a totally different mental state when you're a player. So if we were to be able to wash out those first 2 minutes and have a 1-0 game, well, that changes everything dramatically.
No, absolutely. You're trying to score 1 goal as opposed to 3. It's a big difference. It's a confidence booster. It's a mental thing. But let's face it, Team Greece last night was very good in the third period. So we'll see if they come back with the same type of effort tonight. Team USA needs to be aware of that. They can't sit back too much. They have to continue to work hard and watch out for that push that Team Greece will certainly make here in the third.
Good analysis, Trevor Murphy. So we're going to take a quick break, catch our breath, and we'll be back with the call of the third period right after this. Back with the call of the third period here. Chris Abbott, Trevor Murphy, 2013 World Ball Hockey Championships, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland for the women's division, just outside of St. John's. And Team USA leading Greece 3-0 here at the start of the third period, looking to punch their ticket for a semifinal matchup against the winner of the Team Canada, Team Switzerland game following here. And that's going to be a hard way to go about it, Trevor.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the last thing that Team Greece want right now is have to kill a penalty off early in this third period. We talked about them staying focused, keep the pressure on the USA team because they have been doing that here in the last period. But that's going to put them on the penalty kill, which, as you know, you have to play very defensive, take care of your own zone first, but they cannot allow many more minutes to pass by playing defensively. They've got to step up right now. They've got to do something to create some offense and get that next goal. But unfortunately, for these next 2 minutes, they're playing one man short as this 5-on-4 situation takes place.
Here's Bankowski. Bankowski for Patterson, in deep there for Ostagai. Roger Ratnam in front. Patterson loses the handle. Bankowski there to bail her out. Bankowski turns it over to Malono, and Malono's away. But Bankowski back there to take care of that, as that shot misses just wide. And here's Bankowski. Cross for Ostagai. Ostagai has a player breaking, but the hesitation, Trev, waits for Rajaratnam to stop moving her feet, then she banks it, and it's too late, and then the penalty killer is able to eat that up. So the timing of that play needs to be much better.
No, absolutely. You got to be able to read and react to that play. You got to read the situation, know what's happening. Good job by Greece to react to it, but Team USA needs to be sharper, make that play happen quicker, which will allow them to gain the offensive zone much quicker and without as much difficulty.
Well, those zone entries, so important, especially on the power play.
Exactly.
The U.S. have wasted 30, 40 seconds now because of that one simple mistake.
Exactly. And, as we've seen throughout the week and through our experience in the game, if you can gain the offensive zone, you can get in there and set up. The biggest obstacle is crossing through the neutral zone. When I talk to kids and talk to teams, I kind of refer to the neutral zone as a street. You're leaving your house, you're crossing the street, trying to get into the playground. The street's always the most dangerous area, and we're seeing that. They've got to do a better job of crossing the street, crossing the neutral zone, gain entry, and then have some fun in the offensive zone.
Well, Trev, I tell you what, I've been coaching for a while, never heard it like that. Mangos with a shot, stopped by King. And as any coach listening knows, good coaches beg, borrow, and steal. And I'll be stealing that analogy as I go forward in my coaching career. You're leaving home in the defensive end. You're trying to get to the park, which is the fun place in the offensive end, and you got to cross the street to get there. And you got to look both ways and keep your head up, I guess, is the message there.
Yeah, it was an analogy I heard many years ago from Dave King, the long-time Olympian Team Canada coach and NHL coach. But I thought it was a great analogy to use at any level for that matter. But it's certainly true. If you can get through the neutral zone in a good way, then great things can happen when you get down the offensive zone and have some fun.
That's absolutely. I love that. That's fantastic. Back to retrieve is Skofich. Skofich can't handle over here for Prostak. Jess Prostak. She tries to send it on net. That's a turnover there. Dimitrakopoulos a little too far for her. And Patterson will retreat for the Americans. And I'm going to agree with the crowd on that one. That referee must have had his microscope out to see that cross the line with the player right next to it. Yeah. I got to agree with the crowd on that one.
Yeah, it was one of those very marginal icing calls. First of all, did it cross the line? And then secondly, was the player making the full effort to get there? I think there's two reasons there to wave that one off, but the call has been made. There's a defensive zone face-off back in the Greece zone, but they're back in a 5-on-5 situation right now, so be strong on this ball, strong on this face-off, and try to move up the floor.
And nothing different you can do, Trev. You've got to roll with those punches because if you let that stuff bother you as a player, then you're already beaten.
Absolutely. You see that at all levels. No matter what level of hockey you're playing, what level of sports you're playing, you need that strong mental attitude. You had to be able to shake things off that happen against you in the game, stay mentally positive, because when you do, good things will happen. But if you're thinking negatively, there's a good chance that negative things will happen.
Roger Ratnam turns fires. That's off the shoulder of Efexinadu. Time ticking away here on the Greeks. 11:40 remaining in the third. You can feel the urgency from the crowd. Want to start seeing it on the floor, though. Here's McMasters. McMasters playing that on her backhand a little too long, and it's taken away by So. So with some help from Gadala in there. Sent out wide, and Nakos with a nice play to take that back up the boards. Here's Ostagai. Ostagai has Brown with her, and coming off the bench is Skolfich. And Ostagai didn't see her coming. Gadala will send that deep. And in on for that is Ferguson. Ferguson in there with Habina. Sent around. Out here for LeBlanc. Julie LeBlanc ships that ahead for Ostagai. Calling for it is McRae going to the net. And you got to like that as the coach. That's going to be a crease violation. But you got to like that as the coach. You're always asking your players to talk, call for the pass, call for the pass. Because as Ostagai has her head down, driving wide, then she knows you're there.
Absolutely. Communication is such a key part of any game. And when you're at this level right now, is that when you're working hard, you have your head down, trying to find some open space, it helps when your team talks to you. And we've seen that from a lot of teams here this weekend. But that was a great example then of Team USA using communication to talk to each other, trying to get that pass out in front to give themselves an opportunity. And there's another whistle right there. Team Greece goaltender gets down, covers that ball because Team USA was right there waiting for the rebound. So we have a score of 3-0 with 10:33 left to go in this third period. Team USA leading in shots as well, 16-11 at this point of the game.
We got an email here as Patterson fires that one on the net. ProStack covers up. Got an email from Denise who says, thanks for the lesson on the ugly stick. I emailed my daughter, a Newfoundland transplant from New Hampshire, who was in the stands with my sister cheering on my niece Julie LeBlanc, and she said she made it last winter. Really getting into Newfoundland culture, so LeBlanc's niece living here in Newfoundland, LeBlanc's aunt living here in Newfoundland, I guess that would be her cousin then, Julie's cousin over there with the ugly stick and the U.S. flag, and that's fantastic.
And if she made that stick, that's very impressive because we are across the rink. That looks like a pretty solid ugly stick. So nice work on that young girl to make that and have some fun with it here tonight at the Glacier.
That's right. A quality, a sign of any quality ugly stick would be the projection of sound. And as you mentioned, Trevor, all the way across the Glacier Arena, we could hear that whistling.
And we have seen some fancy sneakers on the floor here. That's a pretty fancy sneaker on the bottom of that ugly stick as well. So the fashion of the World Hockey Championships continues to go from the floor into the stands.
As Rajaratnam gets tied up with Corey Kanitis there. Corey Kanitis sends out wide. Malono in there. Malono walks. She's hooked. No call. Corey Kanitis fires. And a great shot block there by McMasters. Dongus. Oh, and Dongus just muffs that one away. Ahead for Terry Ryan. Terry Ryan and Skovich. Ryan with more jump tonight than she's had in recent games. Ryan, the veteran, I'm sure this is a grind on her as she's participated at this level. And that's a hit by Malono. That will not get called. So the referee's letting them teams decide it themselves here. Mangos is hit, but look out. And here's Dimitrikopoulos. We've talked about her. Tessa Dimitrikopoulos. She has to go a little too far, though. Can't catch up. Maybe her feet moving a little quicker than her hands at that point.
And give Habina full marks for that. A real nice back check, keeping the Greece forward to the outside, not allowing her to get to the net to have that shot.
Absolutely. Here's Nakos. And a little note on Habina, Trev. She may be one of the few American defenders who can make that run. So Dimitrikopoulos, a little unlucky there with who she was up against as Habina. Very athletic in her own right.
And it's easy to say as we're watching the game here. We're not on the floor running with these girls, but that's a play right there where that if the Greece forward can recognize that USA defender is coming so hard, if she can throw the brakes on quickly, hopefully that player goes by her and allows her to get that quick shot away. But, once again, hindsight's 20/20, much easier to call the game from up here than it is when you're running full speed on the floor.
Absolutely. It's a lot easier to make that decision after the fact than to throw on the brakes while you're trying to get your team's first goal in a World Championship quarterfinal. On Afexinadu, and she makes a save. And even that reaction by Afexinadu, Trev, kind of let the ball hit her rather than trying to save the ball. And we can tell she's running on fumes. And as you mentioned, it does look like she's suffering an injury. And she looks like she's playing through. It does look to be a groin.
Yeah, let's give her full marks for the effort she's put into it and the tournament she's played, knowing that she has an injury. You know, as I said, seeing her walk up the stairs last night, you could tell there was something wrong. Watching her on the floor before the game, enjoying the game, there's something not right. But full marks to her for hanging in there and trying to do her best. And other than those first 2 goals, she's been solid tonight. There's been no real issues.
Yeah. And as we mentioned, the Greeks playing well, but the American defense has been very strong. And again, King there after you're able to get through the fence. So if you have to work so hard to get past the American defenders, then they've got a rock in net in Adele King.
Oh, and, you know, I'm going to give USA credit tonight. They have played a good game. They've been solid. They got out to an early lead. They've been able to hold on to it. But I think the other problem tonight, though, for Greece, they haven't shown the urgency. They haven't shown they wanted it bad enough. And they haven't been able to battle back from that early, you know, being down by 2 goals.
That's cool.
So, you know, kind of, you know, give USA full marks for playing well. But Team Greece has not brought their A game tonight, with the exception of a couple of shifts.
So 7.5 remain here in the third period. Score remains 3-0. Team USA leading Team Greece. As always, folks, you can get us here in the booth on Twitter at 2013WBHC, on the email 2013WBHC@gmail.com, Facebook, Carrier Pigeon, Singing Telegram. We'll accept it all.
Facsimile?
Facsimile, at least a reasonable one. And away comes. Again, the numbers terrible on these jerseys. If I could say anything to the U.S. Ball Hockey Association, let's think a little bit more about the announcers next time around. It's this team and Team Armenia have red jerseys and a white stripe going around the entire middle of the jersey. White numbers. Very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah, the jerseys are nice jerseys.
Oh, they're beautiful.
But a dark number would be nice.
Maybe a thicker outline even.
A thicker outline is always important.
No trouble with these Greek jerseys, though. Here's Malono. Malono looking for Markazinas in front. Markazinas gives King a little tap on the head with her stick there just to let her know she's there. Markazinas shoots. Oh, what a blocker save by Adele King. That was pure goaltending right there, Trevor, as she kept her hands high, and the shot just knocked away with the blocker. Adele King obviously schooled in the art of goaltending.
No, absolutely. And you know, a good goalie coach always talks to her, you know, his or her pupils about getting down low but staying as big as you can. And we've seen that just in from Adele King. You call it great there. She kept her hands up, made herself big, still being down on the floor, but making a nice save by keeping herself big, taking away the top part of the net while covering the bottom. And
a lot of young goalies very hesitant to use that blocker. They think that hand is just for holding the stick. Not many goalies comfortable making that blocker save, and she used that as she should have. Nice blocker save, poking that into the corner. Full marks to Adele King on that one.
The other nice piece of that play was just the way she pushed across the crease as well, and we discussed that last night. It's tough to do when you're wearing sneakers on this concrete floor, but it was a good, strong push to get herself from one post to the next.
It is tough to do, and Trevor, we have seen here this week as she makes another nice poke check on the ball going across the front. We have seen a lot of goalies, groins, hamstrings, quads, very, very difficult position to play on skates, and even harder to make that move. Same size net, same size crease, ball traveling across the same way, but you don't have the advantage of being able to make that push. So goaltenders, even thinking about becoming ball hockey goaltenders, always stretch those legs out before you get on the floor.
Now you got to think, Chris, you know, a goaltender's legs are so important, a strong leg.
Oh! As she throws out the glove for that one.
Now another nice save by King. She's doing a nice job and getting a bit of pressure here right now by Team Greece late in the game. But King has done a nice job of staying focused, making those saves, and not giving up rebounds, which is always key. When you're making that first save, you're smothering the ball and not giving the opportunity for that second and third opportunity, that second and third shot.
And Trev, not looking too far ahead, but as we know, Team Canada not letting in a goal yet in this tournament, playing the last place team in the other division. Out here watching the end of this game, they're watching King, and they've seen how well she's played. You got to wonder how that will play into their preparation for tomorrow night, because no matter who you are, and you see a goalie down there, and the goalie gets in your head, it doesn't matter. It's real tough.
No, and Chris, this Team Canada team is well coached. They've done their scouting. They know what to expect from these teams, and you can be rest assured that they talked about the strength of the goaltending and the importance of getting shots, getting traffic in front, and looking for those rebounds. So that will be a key piece tomorrow night during the semifinal game. If Canada should move on and meet Team USA, that'll be something that Team Canada really has to zone in on.
Here's Mangos. Mangos, who's had a great game for the Greeks tonight. Dumped in by McMasters as Mitropoulos is lurking. Again, the Greeks playing a little more aggressive, trying to get the bomb pass here as they're really running out of time with 4 minutes remaining. Corey Kanaitis sends that high and wide of the net. And now the pressure really being put on by the Greek coaching staff, the bench, to get balls at the net. Maybe a little too late to employ that strategy.
Yeah, you had to one of it's too little too late. Now you never count a team out. You keep them right to that last buzzer. But something, I've said it 4 or 5 times, something has to happen, though, very quickly, because it's tough to score 3 goals in the last 3 minutes. The Boston Bruins can do it against teams like the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's another story for another day. But you've got to make sure make sure that something happens here very quickly, because you need to get that first goal and then build upon that.
And here's Julie LeBlanc, and I think I know who Julie's aunt is, because as soon as Julie crossed the blue line, a lady jumped up out of her seat over there. So we know who Julie's aunt is. Back across here for LeBlanc, and Aunt LeBlanc is over there, and she's really nervous for Julie, and that's awesome. Julie, a grown woman, and still family, still look at her as that kid, So that's fantastic. Crease violation called there on the USA.
No, it's awesome to watch. When you have family in the stands, and we've, as a kid growing up, when you're 5, 6, 7 years old, your parents play such an important role, and your family plays such an important role in your development at home and taking to the rinks and everything else. And when these girls who are playing at a world championship continue to have that family and friend support, whether they're here in the building, watching online, it's great to see. And it's always important to have that family support. We talked to the Greece players last night, the Nicola, who has kids back home, and her husband supportive of her playing here. So just absolutely phenomenal to see these women getting support that they certainly need to play at this level from their husbands, from their parents. Absolutely phenomenal.
Speaking of Nicole Nakos, she just takes that one off the hand. Afexinadu steers that one to the corner. 2:40 remaining in the third. I'd like to read this tweet out, Trevor, as we got a little bit of a compliment from Gabe. Gabe says, great work in the booth, men. Shout out the ladies of the Withrow Knights playing for Greece. Withrow Knights, a Canadian team, and a lot of the Greek ladies certainly playing with that team. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe in the Vaughan Women's Hockey League, a lot of these girls play in Ontario, just outside of Toronto.
Now here we have 2 minutes and 16 seconds remaining here in the third period. Shots still favor Team USA, 19-13. They have a 3-goal lead. Important for Team USA right now to remain defensive. They don't need any more goals at this point. We said they couldn't sit back to start this third period, and they didn't. But now at this point in the game, you want to sit back a little bit, defend that 3-goal lead, take away the neutral zone, and make sure that balls get in deep every chance you get.
Malono shoots and a kick save by King. Marquezines sends that over here for Mangos. Mangos sends that on net. And that's scrambled wide. Malono. And now the pressure is really on for Team Greece. Marquezines turns it over. Out here for Dimitri Koplis. She can't keep it in. Mangos keeps it onside. Mangos in here for number 4. That's Harwick. Mangos. Be a great time to pull the goalie if I'm Greece right now, but I really think that shot, and that's blocked. I think if you can recall last night, there was a delayed penalty. Afexinadu didn't come to the bench. I don't think she can run, Trevor. I think she's stationary down there right now.
She's just barely hanging on right now.
And that'll just about do it as Harwick has got a delayed penalty coming. Shot high over Afexinadu by Ryan. Penalty called, and Julie LeBlanc actually is down, I believe. No, it's Rachel Heller. I can't see. Oh, it's Trista Rajaratnam. That's down over there. And
She's
that
played
doesn't look good.
No, she's played a solid game tonight. Looks to be her leg that she's favoring, perhaps a knee. She was tripped there, perhaps went down awkwardly or hit the floor hard. But certainly she's been solid tonight for Team USA, and you hope, knowing that they're going on to the semifinals now, you hope she's okay to play in tomorrow evening's contest.
She looks to be okay. I think she took a good knock there. And as a veteran, there's no way you're going to keep her out of the semifinals of the World Championships, Trevor. No way in hell.
No, absolutely. She's going to be she'll be ready to go tomorrow night. Put a little ice on that. She'll be ready to go in tomorrow night's big game. And here we are in the final minute. Team USA putting some pressure on Team Greece. Kept in at the blue line. Shot on goal. Doesn't reach. Goes into the corner. Church has the ball for Team USA. Shielding the ball. Trying to find a way to get it to the net. Team Greece doing a nice job of defending. Keeping the play to the outside. There's a chance for Team USA from the shot. Shot wide. Poked away from the Greek goaltender. Another shot from Team USA to the side of the net. And there we go. Team USA continuing to put balls on the net. You know, they were getting, basically comes down to Greece not getting the ball out. Team USA taking advantage of that, getting shots on goal. They're up to 20 shots right now here in this game with just 22 and a half seconds left. So I think it's quite easy to say now, Chris, that Team USA will advance to that semifinal game tomorrow night. The next piece of the puzzle is who they will play.
Yeah, for sure.
And the winner of the next game that we see tonight between Canada and Switzerland will dictate that.
Bankowski sends that in on goal. And that's knocked wide. Back here for Heller. 10 seconds remain. Heller winds, fires, and she fans on that one. Sent out and down. Kept in by Bankowski. Over for Heller. Heller's going to shoot again. That's wide. And that'll do it. Team USA advances to the semifinals of the 2013 World Hockey Championship. Guarantees they will play for a medal on Sunday. Now they just need to determine what color that's going to be.
Absolutely. A good effort tonight by Team USA. They came out, they set the tone early, they got those early goals, and they certainly rode that wave the rest of the game. And unfortunately for Greece, they just didn't have a good start to the game. And we've seen that from them now on multiple occasions, that a slow start has really affected them. And that's something that will come with experience. They'll learn from that. They'll get better next time out. But you have to learn to have a good start and a good finish. And as we mentioned earlier, you've got to make sure you're sharp in the first minute of the game and the last minute of every period. And that's certainly a key piece of this. And certainly you can see the frustration right now on the Greek faces. They're not happy with that performance, which is unfortunate, but that's the way the game is played sometimes.
And you know what, Trevor? Conversely to that, the Americans came out flying. So
no, absolutely. And that's as we said earlier, you know, you feel bad that Greece didn't have that better game tonight. They didn't have that urgency, but give Team USA full marks for coming out, playing hard, and having that quick start.
Natalie Mangos, I believe I was calling her Nicole, so I do apologize. It's Natalie Mangos. Trista Rajaratnam named the player of the game. And the announcer just gave up. He said, number 17, I don't know. And the girls had a good kick out of that. So, again, for the third time now this week, we'll hear the American anthem. there you have it. Victory for Team USA. Off to the semifinals tomorrow night. And they will play the winner of the Canada-Switzerland game. Greece will then play the loser of that game tomorrow in the relegation rounds. And stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back with our post-game show. And we've requested Adele King, so if she can get up here, we'll have Adele for the interview. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back here for the post-game show with Dominique Karakanidis, and as the tournament winds down and they have a couple games left, I finally figure out how to say it, but everyone else figured it out. So, Dominique, a tough game. What was your synopsis of how things went down out there?
Well, I really think that we played well. It was just the first couple minutes there, we just were a little flat when we came out, and other than that, I think it was a good game. And, you know, if it weren't for those first couple minutes, I think we'd be in overtime right now.
Yeah, and that was kind of our synopsis out here. I don't know if it was a matter of you guys coming out flat or those guys coming out flying, but
Yeah.
you know, we discussed that 2-0 down off the start. If you could throw that away, then it's a 1-0 game the rest of the way. Totally different mindset then.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Speak to us a bit about the week the teams had. You've had some ups, you've had some downs. Overall, and obviously disappointing to not have a chance at the semifinals, but overall, how have things gone for you personally, and how do you feel the team has progressed?
I think the team did really well. Last time they were in this tournament, they weren't that very good, and we've improved a lot over the past couple of years and did some good recruiting, so I think we have a much better team now, and hopefully we keep improving for the next one. And so far it's been a great experience, a lot of fun, and we really enjoy playing.
Absolutely. And you guys plan already for 2015? Some
Yeah.
of the girls were talking last night.
Yeah, we're starting to kind of scout out a little bit, make our team a little stronger, more competitive.
Absolutely. Well, as we discussed with the girls a couple of times already this week, obviously yourself back on the blue line, a very good defender, and you have a couple of girls up front who are very talented, skilled, and Vicky and Net. She looked to have a bit of an injury. Is she hurting back there?
Yeah, first game she got a shot in the foot, kind of under her pad, so she's been limping a bit, but she can pull it off when she has to.
It's a long week, and as the only goalie, it's a little bit tough for her. So you guys will play the loser of the next game, I believe, between Canada and Switzerland, and that's tomorrow. So how do you regroup now after this loss and come back tomorrow with a better start and hopefully a better result?
I don't know, I think we just have to forget about this game, have a good warm-up, and just be ready. Don't take anything for granted.
For sure. Well, thanks very much, Dominique,
Yeah.
for joining us.
Thank you.
And good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So, as promised, we're back here with American netminder Adele King, who's played, I believe, every minute of every game for your team. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Adele, we've been talking a lot about you up here. You've been playing great. How do you feel things have gone so far for you this week?
You know, things have gone absolutely amazing. My girls were a young team, more or less a newer team, and each girl was selected for a reason, and this is the reason. I mean, they're pushing through. We had a tough game against Slovakia, and I couldn't be any more proud of what we accomplished.
Well, that's fantastic. You guys move into a big semifinal matchup. We won't say for sure it's against Canada, but we can assume, unless something drastic happens, and if it does, good for the Swiss. USA, Canada, semifinal, World Championships in Canada. How do you think about that going into tomorrow?
Everybody's dream is to try to dethrone Canada. I mean, Canada is where it starts, Everybody eats, sleeps, and breathes hockey here in Canada. And I think it would be phenomenal. I think my girls would come out hard and fight every minute, no matter what that score is. I mean, they give it their all every single time.
And absolutely. And I want to speak a bit about some of your defensemen, especially Melanie Cherry, who let us know yesterday she's your backup goalie too. And sometimes she tries to be the first goalie, as she has blocked a ton of shots. Speak to them a little bit and what they've done to help you out.
My D has been a big part of this team, big part of the reason why we're where we are going into the semis, possibly against Canada.
Yeah.
They're all I can say is their intensity, their dedication, their hard work. I mean, I've played with Melanie, I've played against Melanie, I've played with and against Megan Habina. All these girls, I mean, we've gone to many tournaments with each other, against each other, and they're here because I know what they can do, and it's better to play with them than against them.
Absolutely. So, Adele, a bit about yourself, I guess, before we let you go. What's your background in terms of ice hockey, ball hockey? Where are you from? Let some of the viewers know a bit more about you.
I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania. I've been playing goal for about 9 consecutive years. Strictly ball hockey. I'm like a deer on ice. I don't skate. I don't skate well at all. I've attempted it once or twice. Didn't go very well for me. I love this game. This game has opened my eyes to a lot of really cool things. I've met a lot of cool people playing this game, and I'm up there. I'm getting older, and I don't like to think about that too much, and I want to do everything I can to grow this sport.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's a constant message we've gotten from a lot of people, a lot of the veterans especially that are around, and they were there when the sport really wasn't big on a global scale, and it's growing. I mean, I think this broadcast and everything is something that hasn't been there before, and it's people like you that when the game hits its peak and everyone is a Team Slovakia, Team Canada, like a professional hockey team, then you can look back and say, you know what, I was a big part of that. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I do want to ask you a question. There was a save you made late in the game, and you came across and you used your block. And a lot of goalies don't like to do that, and you kept your hands up and used the block. Have you gotten some professional goalie training, or is this just something you've learned as you've gone?
I have a couple of people in my life that, really molded me. And I owe it all to them. They build off of my athleticism. All goalies are a little crazy, so anybody that wants to stand in the net and have a ball shot at them at 90 miles per hour,
You said it, not me.
But no, I just had a couple of good teachers. I mean, I never had any professional, training or anything, but yep.
That's great. Well, we'll let you get going. You've got a night ahead. You'll get a bite to eat, a big rest, and a huge game tomorrow night. Is there anybody at home watching? And I know we've gotten a ton of emails for you girls, and a lot of people wanted to give you shout outs, and we've done as many as we could on air. But who's watching at home now that you really want to say hi?
I want to say hi to my babies, Kirsten and Logan. Hi to my family, all my supporters, all my friends and family. And I want to say hi to my niece who had major surgery yesterday and is happily doing very well.
Good.
She's behind us, Team USA is playing for her.
Yeah, we were told about that story, yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. She's a very big inspiration and very big, important part of my life.
That's great. Well, if you want to look into the camera and give her a kiss. And
Mwah! Paige, I love you, baby. Kirsten and Logan, Mommy's doing it. We're doing it. Team USA all the way.
Awesome, Adele. Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure to meet you, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.